Well, I am Elvi Elena González. Yo nací en Barranquilla, Colombia. I was born in Barranquilla, Colombia, and I came here at the age of 42 because I wanted a fresh start to start something new. I had a daughter that she was 13 years old, and at some point I say I want to do things in a new way. The way I was doing things in my country, Colombia, where it was not working, I say maybe I try new things. So I came to this country with the open mind. I came to this country with the decision, with the resolution that I was going to observe how other people live here and learn maybe new ways to get things so my life could improve. And, and somehow I think that I learned few things I tried to adapt. One of the things that I needed to learn the English. And somebody told me that the most I was talking in Spanish, the less I will learn the English. So everything I was TV and everything in English. I got married with an American, so that also helped. And I immersed in English. And sometimes it was like a puzzle. She said this, she said that, the soap opera, the movie, put it together. Probably I understood the 20% of what people were saying. Now, 25 years later, I might understand. Yes, well, painting is something new for me. I was born with the talent for dancing. I used to, since I was 3, 4 years old, I danced at the party and I thought that was my talent. So when I was around 60 years old, I started painting because I retired from my work as a teacher assistant at a preschool. I never knew what was going to paint on a canvas, to grab a brush, and I went to a lesson just for a hobby, and I love it. I love it, and I decided I wanted to learn to do that because it was a way to put together things that I have in my mind, and I have a stock. I have no idea that one day I would have been having this thing here in an airport. No idea. So
Great.
painting is new for me. And I started about 60. I am now 68.
And can you talk a little bit about why oil? So kind of that transition from acrylic to oil.
Well, my first lesson was in acrylic. And I worked for a couple of years with acrylic, and it was a struggle. It got dry too fast. I have to pour water. Sometimes my painting, I didn't like it, and I went to the sink, opened the faucet, wash it because it was not. I used a reference photo, and sometimes I didn't have a good photo. I watched videos in YouTube, and at the time that the person was making the painting, I was at home and I was doing my painting. So I set a little table, I have my easel, I have my things, and any moment I wanted, I went to paint because I have the time. Some people tell me that that is good to have everything ready to go. And one time somebody told me about somebody that lit my bride in Havana, and I went there with my acrylics painting. And then after I had set it on my canvas and all, she presented and she asked me, "Do you want to try with oil?" And I, oils, that is for Michelangelo. And no, I said, oh, she says it's easy. So she set the palette with the oils. She, in a very simple language, she explained me how to use the brush, the knife, the palette, the cleaner. I even turpentine, and there is turpentine, and there is a lot of vocabulary related to painting that is very fancy, and I don't know. But because I have done painting in oil, when I watch a video on YouTube, I can understand what they are talking about because I have been through the same thing on the canvas. If you ask me to say what he says, I cannot tell you what he says, but I know what he tried to say. So I start painting with oil and I love it. So at the end of the lesson, I say, I'm gonna continue with oil. And she gave me a list of materials that she recommended. And that's how in 2017, I went once a week to her. She will give like 30 minutes a live lesson, whatever she was painting and whatever do. I saw that she sometimes was on the same process, struggling with the color, doing the match. And so through her, I learned that there was more than primary colors. That was the only thing I knew. Yellow, blue, and red are primary, and yellow and blue make green. But I didn't know that so many yellows, so many blues, and different greens. I didn't know about the hint of the red. So it has been learning, and the part of the joy has been learning the process to see that I paint, and the oil is like it has a magic. I paint, and next day I go and I look at the painting, and it's like they knew what to do, the colors, how to mix or something. And sometimes you need the paint to dry. Sometimes it's better on a wet paint. It has taken me practice to learn that, you know. So I have in my house 2 palettes because then I learned that I love so much painting that it was better to be working on 3 or 4 paintings at a time. So I have to expand my table in the living room to cancel the dining room and set the studio. Then I got an easel, then I have places to dry. So as I needed, as I grow, I have been getting more things. And in 2017, I applied to the Creative Tallahassee things. I sent 3 photos of 3 paintings. I love the application process was easy because I sit in the computer and I am afraid that the computer might bite my fingers. And I did it, and one of my paintings was selected. So that gave me like encouragement. I'm doing right. It was a good motivation. And next year I did it again, and so it's a beautiful process, and this day I'm feeling good. And Coca has been wonderful with me. All this has been possible because I desire to do it. I have the will, I have the drive, I can do this.
Absolutely.
And when you have a goal, and I am 60, 68, it's so good to start something new that I never knew that I was able to do, and give me so much satisfaction about myself, like my self-esteem. I have to think, so I have to do this thinking process. And images fit your mind. It's like looking things that are sad that will influence in my mood. So I like happy images, I like happy photos, I like to be surrounded by mangoes, by beautiful things. And it helps my mood, my vision, my calmness. And I start noticing in social media that my friends like, as well as they made me happy. I noticed that other people also have a moment of happiness, of good memories with my paintings. And that was also a very gratifying. I noticed that if my husband, he had everything that he needed, but he wanted a painting of me he saw. And he will give me a photo, and I can do something with my hands that is gonna give happiness to others. So I'm giving something from me. And if there's a charity or a fundraising, I give a painting that is somebody buy for a good reason, different goals they have. So it's a gratification in many ways. Yes, and when I learned to paint using a reference photo in Lafayette Park, and for some reason, like when you want to eat chocolate or something, I wanted to paint mangoes. So I went on the internet and I was looking images of mangoes. And I started painting mangoes. And after I have start to doing in the process that I know that people is gonna ask me why I paint mango, I start like to reflect on why. I think that the photos that I liked the most was the mangoes on the tree with the leaves and sunlight, because when I was like about 4 years old, we lived in a house with a big backyard where there was guava fruit, coconut tree, but in the middle there was a big mango tree. So in the morning, I was younger than 5, I would run to the kitchen and the door was open, and the smell from the early morning and the wet sun and the mango have this sweet something, and I look at this huge mango tree with this little shape, pink, orange, green, yellow, and some of those mangoes have fallen on the ground, and I probably from that far away it comes. If a psychologist was asking, probably came from that, the way that the light hits the leaves and the mango. I was fascinated by that, but not because I was an artist on a painting, just I think that that was since the beginning. So, and I always like the blue skies. And I always notice that in my painting, there is always a blue sky, So there are things that are natural, and if I reflect, I can understand, and that's it, the mangoes. And many fruits on the street. I like the watermelon. The heat is so strong there, the heat is so strong that on the street there are many vendors. There is many people that their way of life is just go out the street and sell. Yes, so people on the street and you are thirsty and you get a little cup with the chop watermelon with ice and the spoon, and that is something. Or the mango, when they cut the mango that is green, and you leave your school and there all the children live in the school, and there are the vendors with the cars. So they take a mango, they chop, put salt, lemon, and it's a green mango, it's not fried mango. And you make that is the most delicious thing.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So I needed photos with that, and it was very hard to find photos that were good. Sometimes when I went to Colombia, I tried to put photos, so I have to do a lot of editing when I see photos and crop and do. So fruits have been there, and I love here to go like to the flea market, to downtown, to see the people on the street and the fresh air, the sun, like the sun sky, the tall trees that reach the sky. See, and the blue sky. You see blue skies everywhere in my paintings. This is so typical there. This is a little chop of one big photo. The people is walking there and they have the little cup with the watermelon, or this is melon, and those are mangoes. And I was doing these mangoes, and I was with Darlene taking the lesson. And she said, those mangoes, they look like French fries, Elvi. So look at the photos. So I have to, that they didn't look like French fries. And the spoon and that. So the fruits by the beach, because it's very common to go to the beach. My city is Barranquilla, and there we have access to the beach. So eat at the beach the watermelon and the papaya and all that is also something very, very nice. And the people goes on the street selling your food. And from there is that comes the lady with the big bowl of fruit, because I have the memory that to the house will come some woman selling alegría bollo. They go house to house selling that. And you go, and that's the way they live. They work all day, and you pay them in cash, and then they go home. They have to feed the family, and next day they have to get up really early to prepare whatever they're going to take out. There are the people, the way of life, depending on getting out to sell something that maybe they made at home in the morning in their house. So finding a perfect photo to use as reference photo, it was difficult for me. But these photos are very popular. The woman walking on the street, and it's better used to a guy for making photo. But for me, it's the way that I appreciate, I admire the people that every day gets up and go to work. Like you this morning, getting up, driving to the airport to come to do this, or some. Working is something, no matter humble or no matter fancy it is, but I respect that. So I think that behind all this painting is what I feel, you know? So that's the story. And these butterflies is because we have a writer, a famous writer, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, that he won a Nobel Prize, and in a book that is called 100 Years of Solitude, he mentioned the yellow butterflies. And I have this painting, the background in the photo are buildings, so, but I want to clean the photo, and I thought that the yellow butterflies will make something. It's like when you are in front of the mirror that you want to get dressed, and you start trying, no, this necklace, this doesn't look good. It's the same with, for me, it's the same with the painting, you know? And sometimes if you go with somebody shopping and you try a dress and they say, oh, you look wonderful, but you think, no, this is not me. So the saying is, those are my ladies, those are my paintings. So every painting that I choose here is because I have like 60 paintings at home. For this exhibit, I choose to celebrate my 25 years here. And something that I love are the tall trees in Tallahassee, the canopy road, that's one of the paintings. Yeah. This photo probably I saw it somewhere, and I love the tall trees in Tallahassee. I love how the lights hits the road. So I am fascinated sometimes to see, look at the tall trees and the blue sky, how they seem to be project, and how the lights in the morning moves and the evening and the different colors. But I never rationalize about that. You know, I feel attracted to those photos, and that is what I feel the urge to paint. And the light here, and I'm driving, and there is so much here in Tallahassee, and the color of the lights, how it changed during the day, and how different reflects on the leaves, is it hitting in front or if it comes from the back, like the sunset. So exploring that, learning that, doing it over and over. Yes, And with the oil, the good thing is that I can do something, and if I am not sure that it works, I can take paper towel or something and do it again, start over. Until when I do a painting in few sessions. And I look, and the next day I look and I say, oh, why did I do this here? Oh, this. But when I look and I don't feel that there is anything that I, with my ability, can do, I say, I leave it there. I'm sure that the mastering painting my cone and with few strokes can make whatever, but I want to see how far I can go. You know, I measure myself for myself with my stars, so I keep the photo, the paintings that I first made, so I can see how much I getting better, and it makes me very satisfaction and something to look for, because there are many things that still I want to paint. I want to paint a lot of trees.
My name is Sam Jocelyn, and I am the Public Art and Exhibitions Manager with COCA. So I run and help curate and program the two galleries that COCA runs, one here in the airport and then one is in City Hall. With Elvi's show, she really wanted to be surprised by what the exhibition looked like when she came to the reception. So she actually dropped off all of her work. There's a total of 32 pieces. And then me, as the curator, so to speak, I decided where the pieces would go. So I kind of used a couple of things when I'm hanging them. I want the paintings to be eye level for average height, so usually about 60 inches in the middle. And then I also try to balance them based on size. So I don't put all the big paintings together and I don't put all the little paintings together. I kind of disperse them. So there's some big paintings on both sides, some small paintings on both sides. And I also tried to match content in a certain way. So these two paintings here felt like they went together, and so I placed those together just like those nature outdoor photos. I kind of clumped those two together, and then I also tried to balance colors a little bit. I think it's a great place to have an exhibition because you have a lot of people in and out, and a lot of people that maybe either aren't familiar with Tallahassee or are coming back home. So I think Elvi's work is really good for that. She has a lot of Tallahassee references. So people, you know, who maybe been gone for a while and they live here, coming back home, they can look over here. It's reminded them of home. And then also the visitors who come, I think it also gives them a good introduction into the art scene in Tallahassee and maybe become something that they want to look more into while they're here.
So, learning to do that is wonderful. I have to do the process of thinking, choose the photo, what I want to show in the photo. It keeps my mind thinking. Is something that I like to think about, keeps my spirit uplift. I like to be uplift even if there are things that might not be so good surround around you, that life brings you challenge and all. But I need to take care of myself. I am responsible for my own happiness, for my own life, for my own destiny. And I know that the way to keep my mind clean, healthy, is to look at things that are good and healthy, like movies that are good for me, like photos that are good for me, like people that is nice and nurturing me, relationships. So I think that I paint things that the people can look and feel good. If they need too much explanation, it's not what I like to paint, you know. Something to make the people feel good. And the airport is a place that maybe people come with stress, with tension and something, and I hope that if any of my paintings make them feel for a moment good, I'm pleased with that.